All right, we're back. I screwed up. That was my fault. My fault. My bad. Sorry, I hit the wrong button. I wasn't looking what I was doing, and I got confused because I've got three computers in front of me. One of them I'm reading off of, the other one is running the show, and a mouse works for one of them but not the other, and I clicked it, whatever. Anyway, I ended the show on accident. Sorry about that. So we'll give a couple of seconds for people to maybe rejoin. I don't know. I missed the last couple interactions, but apparently my girl Leslie just called somebody a jive turkey, which I'm all for. That needs to come back. That needs to come back. Calling people jive turkeys. That needs to come back. I love that. Very good. What were we arguing about? Was Leslie involved in an argument? Look, the crazy woman, Caitlin Armstrong, who was being sought by U.S. Marshals in the tragic, senseless murder of 25-year-old Mo Wilson, bicycle rider. Crazy Caitlin's hot. I think that's what we were arguing about. Is that what we were fighting about? Whether or not the crazy woman is attractive? She is. End of story. But again, you gotta. How very Scatman Crothers, Leslie. Yes, look at that. Very good. I want to make sure we get Will back because I don't want. I was not making any comments about Will's wife. I don't know Will's wife. I don't know. I'm just saying. Your wife better be hot. There he is. All right, thank you. I was not making any comments about your wife. I don't know your wife. I'm sure your wife is a lovely woman. So please, I don't want to be misconstrued as me. I'm just simply saying that you seem to have very high standards when it comes. Thank you. Your wife is, and that's, what, good for you. That is a man who is ardent about the hotness of his wife is a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful thing. All right. And this is not related. This is not related in any way, shape, or form. It just made me remember something that was funny from high school. Did you ever have that friend who would always be like, dude, I met this girl. She was so hot. Again, this has nothing to do with the previous conversation. But you have like this friend's like, dude, I met this girl at the mall. She's so hot, dude. We go, oh man, she's really into me too. And she's really hot. Oh man, I can't believe how hot she is. And then you meet her and you're like, what? I thought she was hot. You don't say that. I mean, you do. You say that later, but you don't say that around. You say that like, the next day when you're playing basketball, when you're like, hey, what's up with you thinking that's hot? That's how guys act. But I had a friend who always, every girl he met was so hot, and then they never were. They were fine, they were normal. That's a normal girl. You made it sound like you were dating Heather Locklear, you're like, dude, she's so hot. What are you talking about? My girlfriend's hotter than that. And then you get into that, you're like, my girlfriend's hotter. No, she's not. And then you start like, really? So you don't think my girlfriend's hotter than that? Kids are funny. All right. So again, I'm going to need all you people to be out there looking for Caitlin Armstrong. So get on it. Depending on what you think, she's an attractive woman. Although I imagine we're going to have this debate with Parker tonight. We'll see if Parker's going to think she's hot because Parker likes redheads. So, and I don't like redheads. I'm typically not attracted to redheads. And I think it's because my mom's a redhead. I think it's just I never looked at redheads as being attractive because my mom's a redhead. Anyway, although I do make there are some that you make exceptions for. Like I always thought Nicole Kidman was really pretty. And Angie Everhart, I don't think Angie Everhart was a real redhead. I think she just dyed her hair red because she was a supermodel and she needed to break out of the pack somewhere. So she just kind of dyed her hair red and she became the hot redhead. All right, let's move on. Newark Airport is trending. Did you see this? Newark Airport is trending. Newark Airport, by the way, for anybody who travels to New York City, Newark Liberty. That's the cheat sheet, man. You want to talk about the flying cheat sheet? Don't fly into JFK. God forbid you fly into LaGuardia. LaGuardia is like gross. Although to be fair, I haven't been to LaGuardia in 20 years, but it was gross. Newark Liberty Airport. That's the way to go to New York City. You fly into Newark. You don't have to battle all of the traffic that you get with JFK. You're on the other side. It's smaller. It's convenient. So if you get an opportunity, although, most of us don't get to choose the airport our plane lands at because we just pick the flight that is, the most convenient and, within our budget. But boy, if you ever see that yours is going to Newark, go like, yeah, I'll take that one. Because all the airports in New York City suck. But Newark, which I think is also technically closest to Midtown Manhattan than either LaGuardia but I could be wrong on that. But I know Newark is right across the river. Like you get off the plane, you're like, oh my God, we're already downtown. Well, except there's a river in between you. But yeah. All right, let's see here. What are we doing? Oh, Amy Adams too. I think Amy Adams is attractive. She's a redhead. I was thinking of redheads. Hold on, I lost my place. All right. Lost half the people in the chat room, too. So I did it. We had a nice little chat room scene going today. All right, Newark Airport. So there's some video here. We'll watch this. A fist fight broke out at Newark Airport. Oh, what the hell? I got Facebook, but I don't have that. Okay, here we go. A fight broke out at Newark Airport over the weekend between a passenger and somebody who works for the airline. I think it's a United Airline worker. And, 9 times out of 10, you're like, oh, that passenger's an asshole. And you root for the person who works for the airline. But in this case, it seems like the person who works for the airline started this shit. Seems like the airline worker is the one that started it. And the airline worker got his ass handed to him by a dude. Shocking moment. United Airlines worker punches passenger before being battered to the ground. So basically what happened is, and we'll see in the video here, the airline worker throws the first punch, like just takes a shot at this passenger. They're standing there like in the desk area before you get on the plane, where they weigh your bags and they check your ID and all that kind of stuff. So that's happening. And here, I'll pull it up for you. So we'll watch it. And this little airline, he's a little dude, this little airline worker just like takes a shot, like slaps the passenger right across the face. And then the passenger just whipped ass. Just like, oh, really? And then bam, bam, bam. Here, we'll watch the video so you can check this out. And I'm sure the passenger got arrested. It's always because that's how we're geared. We're geared to blame. All right, let's see. Dismiss. We'll get rid of that. All right, I get it. Disturbing footage. Let's watch this. Okay, so look at how big the passenger is. So that's the passenger on the left, and then on the right, that's the United Airlines worker. Okay, so here we go. Now they're getting close. What is this airline worker thinking? I hear that now they're close. Now notice the left hand of the worker right here. He's going to get ready to slap this dude right across the face. Bad move, brother. Boom! Did you see that? What? Oh. All right, now here we go. Now watch an ass whip. Boom, slaps him. One, connected right on the chin. Connected across the face again, knocks him back. He's out. That's a flash knockout. And you know it's a flash knockout because watch him try to stand. His whole brain is going. He has no balance. He doesn't know which way is up. He's trying to get up. Look, whoop. Yep. Okay. Here he comes. He's coming back for more.
He wants some more.
He does want more. I don't know who this woman is. I don't know if she works for the airline or what, but she's got her pants fit very well.
He works at the airport and he assaults me. I don't care what it's assault.
All right. Let's watch it one more time. Oh, here we go. All right, one more time. Come on. We don't need to see the warning. We know it's a warning. It's going to be fun.
Tell me, please, what is your name?
What's this?
Wayne?
Juan,
Where are you from?
the U.S.
Yes.
All right.
What happened to you?
Apparently, that's the next video. Anyway, we saw that. So there you go. That happened at Newark over the weekend. That's what people are. That's why Newark Airport is trending. It's a nice airport. I will give them that. Byron says, is he an ex NFL player? Because the story that I had read said that he was like a music producer, and I don't know, but maybe he's a big dude. What is wrong? That crazy look. Like I said, 9 times out of 10, it's the passenger being the a-hole, right? But that dude, that guy who works for that airline, he threw that first punch and he got his ass kicked. Southern Baptists are trending. We got any Southern Baptists in the chat room? Because it's your turn on the wheel of sexual molestation. The Southern Baptists, there's a report that says top Southern Baptists have stonewalled sex abuse victims for years, taking a page from the Catholic Church and all of that good stuff. Let's see here. Let's read. I'll give you a quick. We'll go through this story. You know what? We don't need to. I don't care. Do you care? Southern Baptists are trending because there's this big outcry because it's been revealed that for 20 years, people who are in Southern Baptist congregations have been saying, I got diddled by the pastor, and they've been going, no, you didn't. And they've just been sweeping it under. So now that's a thing. If you want to know more about it, go ahead, look into it. Beverly Hills Nazis are trending. Why? Well, here we got video on this one too. Apparently yesterday in front of the Beverly Hills Hotel, that's in Beverly Hills, don't you know? A bunch of Nazis. Nazis are so comfortable now. They are comfortable. What happened? Why did the Nazis get so comfortable? I don't know. It used to be, you don't call me a Nazi, I'm just a fascist. But now it's like, whoa. All right, so here we go. So a bunch of Nazis started hanging out in front of the Beverly Hills Hotel. They had a big truck with all kinds of Nazi slogans and stuff on it. And they were driving it around Beverly Hills. Here you go. This dude is yelling, the Nazis are coming. Yeah. Resisting replacement theory. Okay. People are comfortable with this now. Look what you did. You made people comfortable. It says Ann Coulter is right. I wonder if she's proud of that. I don't know what. Oh, are the guys in the Nazi uniform? They're wearing masks, so they're scared. They're scared of being seen. Look at this. This is one of them Boogaloo boys. That's the outfit that they wear. They all look like dentists on vacation. Yeah, so I don't know what that's about, but that happened yesterday in front of the Beverly Hilton Hotel. Well, here, I'll tell you why. All right, we'll read the story really quickly. The Nazis are coming. Let's see. Men dressed as Nazi brown shirts parked their truck, which was emblazoned with anti-Semitic rhetoric in the middle of the Beverly Hills Hilton driveway. Guests of the Beverly Hilton were harassed by white supremacists from the Goyim Defense League dressed as Nazi brown shirts on Sunday. In a video of the incident, a member of the GDL shouted, the Nazis are coming, as they blocked the entrance to the hotel. Okay, that's all we need to talk about. Comfortable. Nazis are comfortable now. They're back. They are back. You know what? It's all you little bitches who never got to know your great-grandpas who fought the Nazis in World War II. I was raised by a generation of old men who actually fought fascism in World War II. That generation's all gone now, and now it's just a bunch of little assholes. Cool, though. Cool that you can now just walk around the street. I'm a Nazi. Okay. People better start fighting back on Nazis. I'm telling you, we need to get that. We need to get the whole Nazi thing back to where it was like in the 80s. where you couldn't be a Nazi. You couldn't, that was not, even like skinheads were like, we're not Nazis, we're just a club. Nah, you're Nazis. But at least they hid it. They don't hide it anymore. It's not being hidden. Netflix is trending. Netflix is trending because, here, I want to show you this. I want to show you this because you know how much I hate what's going on with Netflix. So Netflix laid off, they're saying that they're going to do 150 more layoffs. They laid off like almost 1,000 people, I think, last week. Just firing people, just firing a whole bunch of people who make 50, 60, 70 grand a year. Look at this, because their stock is tanking. Their stock is tanking all the way down to 2019 levels when they were the most powerful entertainment company in the world. So, oh, heaven forbid we fall back to the level we were when we were the most powerful entertainment company in the world. See, but that's not, again, I'll tell you about what happens here. So, actually, I'll just show it to you because I found this. I wanted to show this. Do I have it? For crying out loud, I don't have it. I don't have it. Why didn't I save that? I thought I saved it. I was going to show it to you. So basically, like when Netflix in 2000, just before the pandemic, Netflix was the most powerful entertainment company in the world. Reed Timmer, the CEO, was the toast of the global entertainment world. Netflix in 2018 was a monster. Then the pandemic hit, and they basically doubled their stock price. They went from being the most powerful to being the most powerful times 2. They doubled it. So now we're out of the pandemic and it's falling. It is falling from the artificial heights of the pandemic. And now it is back to where it was when they were the most powerful entertainment company on the planet. But see, here's the deal. When you are, I don't know, one of the top dudes at Netflix, or let's say you're on the Netflix board of directors, and in 2018, you're making $10 million a year as someone who sits on the board of the most powerful entertainment company on the planet. When that happens in 2018 and you're making $10 million and then the pandemic hits and then suddenly 2 years later, you're making $30 million, you don't want to go back to making that $10 million. You like making the $30 million that you because people stayed home during the pandemic and a lot of people who didn't have Netflix joined Netflix. And now that the world is opened back up, a lot of those people who joined Netflix, who artificially drove the stock price so high, they're now moving back. And so we're left with the same amount of people, actually more, but we're left with basically 2018, 2019 levels of Netflix success, which is not sustainable to people who have been making $30 million a year for the last 2 years. They don't want to go back to making only $10 million a year. So how do they keep making $30 million a year? Fire a couple hundred people who make like 70 grand a year. They're not taking a pay cut at the top. They just need to keep living the lifestyle they've become accustomed to. So regardless of the fact that Netflix is not tanking, they're not going bankrupt, if the people at the top would just go, okay, so now we need to go back to making the same amount of money that we were making back in 2018, 2019. But no, they won't do that because back in 2019, they only had one jet and they like having 2 or 3 jets. We've got 2 or 3 jets now. Yeah, but those 2 or 3 jets, that you were being short-sighted because you should have recognized that the only reason your stock prices went up so much is because we were in this artificial time of the pandemic. You had to have known that once the world opened back up, that you would then come back down to where Netflix should be, which is probably about $186 per share. And $186 per share, they were the most powerful entertainment company in the world. But you see, the pandemic drove them all the way up to a high of like $500 a share. And when you're at $500 a share, you get used to that. So they're firing all the regular people. They fired, let's see who they fired. They fired a bunch of people from the animation department. They fired a bunch of people in the marketing department. Nobody on the board is taking a cut, though. Nobody on the board. They want to keep making the money they've been making. Netflix chaos with 150 new layoffs. Everything now depends. Everything. Oh, really? Netflix is going to go away? Is it going to go away? Or are you guys going to go, maybe we could be happy just making $10 million a year? Yeah, maybe you could. Maybe you could. These aren't anonymous people in other countries. The newly dispensed Netflix employees were editorial, mostly in Los Angeles, who worked on Netflix social media platforms. There are also 70 people from the animation department who have been fired, and they may or may not be included in this official count. Netflix stock went off a cliff in April. It didn't go off a cliff. It went back to where it was when they were the most powerful entertainment company in the world. It went back down to 2019 pre-pandemic levels. Went off a cliff. Yeah, because it artificially rose during the... Oh, God. Rich people aren't going to take a pay cut. He used to making all of that money. Yes, we do intellectually understand that this is artificial because of the pandemic. But boy, once it goes back to normal, we still want to make 30 million. I hate it. Meanwhile, old cars is trending. Old cars. You know why? Because for the first time, U.S. roadways are populated by the oldest cars ever. Never before has the average age of the American vehicle on the road. Got a guess? Let's do a guess here. All right, you people in the chat room. You got a guess? What is the average age of an American car on today's roadways? What is the average age? Average age, how many years old is the average car on the road today? Now, just so you know, it's older than it's ever been in history. I'll wait. Average age. Tartan says 15. Wow, that's real old. That's great. Okay, you're not outside. You're not too crazy though. Okay, I'm not gonna wait for you people because I don't understand the delay. I don't know how long it is, honestly, and I don't think people are interested in playing this game. There we go. Adam says 9. Rob Barr says 12. Rob Barr has nailed it. The average age of vehicles on U.S. roadways today hits record high 12.2 years. 12 years, 2 months. Drivers are holding on to cars and trucks longer to avoid high prices on replacements and an inventory shortage at dealerships. The average age of vehicles on U.S. roadways edged to its highest amount ever, hitting a record of 12.2 years as Americans, challenged by high car prices and slim pickings on dealer lots, held on to cars. This was the 5th straight year that the average vehicle age in the U.S. has increased. And trust me, it ain't because they're making better cars. It ain't because the cars are better. Have you driven by a car dealership lately? Oh, a lot of room in car dealership lots. Have you seen that? We were going up to the up at Lake Louisville. We travel up on 35. And there's just dozens and dozens of car dealerships that line 35. And E made mention, he goes, look at that lot. Look at that. It was like a big Ford dealer. It was like a big giant Ford dealer. And we're looking at the lot and there was like 10 cars. It's like they got 10 cars. That's their used car lot. They got 10 cars. And then we look over and there's another empty lot on the other side. And we're like, those are their new cars. They only got like 5 new cars. People aren't buying. I think people aren't buying because, well, I don't know. Could this also have something to do with the pandemic? Could it? Could it just be that people put less miles on their cars during the pandemic, so therefore less cars broke down, which means that less people made the decision to buy new cars over the last couple of years? It might have something to do with it. I'm sure it does. I'm sure it's got something to do with it. All right. Also trending today. How about this one? This is a fun headline. Porn priest. Okay, so this is a story about an 83-year-old priest who stopped being a priest and now he's a porn star. Oh, but it gets even more interesting. He's a gay porn star. And not a real priest, by the way, either. That's, a priest that's a Catholic thing. I'm sorry. You call yourself a priest, you got to be Catholic. That's not entirely true. It is. It's entirely true to the way I like to see the world. This guy was like, he's one of these made up religion guys, I don't know, like he opened up a storefront and came up with a name, whatever, just made up like, his glory ministries or what. I did probably one of those deals, those fake, you see them all the time. And I call them fake because, I'm Catholic, and that seemed very legit. There's a big, giant, gold-crusted mansion in Italy that says that Catholicism is legit. There's a dude with a big, tall hat who travels the world and millions of people. That's what makes Catholicism legit, and it's what makes any other church where people are just making up the rules phony. This guy calls himself a priest, 83-year-old pastor. He was married. Priests can't be married, dude. I'm sorry. An 83-year-old pastor traded in his role preaching to a congregation to take up a new role as a pornographic film star. And now he says sex can actually help bring people closer to God. The career swap took place 5 years ago, and the former priest from North Carolina. I imagine a lot of pretend churches in North Carolina. The former priest from North Carolina believes sex should be treated as a joyous part of the spiritual life. Okay. Retired pastor Norm Self spent most of his life serving his Christian faith in the church. But in his 80s, he decided it was time to call it quits. Early in life, he had been married to a woman for nearly 30 years, but eventually realized he was gay. I bet you she realized it way earlier than you did. And this is his generation, right? This is like, yeah, I was like 75 and I realized, hey, I'm gay. No, you didn't. You realized you were gay when you were 12. You realized you were gay first time you saw your friend. You knew you were gay. You just from the generation that you refused to admit it, and you're still a little bit shamed about it. So now you're like, oh yeah, I just suddenly realized at 75 that, hey, I'm gay. Weirdo. It took him another 20 years to come out publicly and express his sexuality through adult films. He made his movie debut in 2017, this according to a 2019 documentary that aired on Channel 5 in Britain. It's almost like having a party. That's one of the things I admire about this way of doing porn. So, okay, I'm done. I'm done talking about this guy, but porn priest is trending. Whatever. The Chappelle Attacker is trending. Chappelle Attacker is trending. Why, you remember the guy who tackled Dave Chappelle on stage? He's like, oh, I'm gonna get you, and he like ran up on stage and he tackled him. Okay, he's talking, he's explaining it. Isaiah Lee, that's his name, Isaiah Lee, the man accused of trying to attack Dave Chappelle during his comedy set at the Netflix's A Joke Festival in early May, is finally speaking out about the reasons behind his actions. Because you're crazy? Is it because you're a crazy person? Because that's the reason that I'm comfortable with. It's because you're crazy. Anything else doesn't matter because you're crazy. You're a crazy person, and I don't need to know anything else. Lee, 23, spoke with the New York Post in a jailhouse interview published on Sunday and claimed that he felt triggered by the comedian's jokes about the LGBTQ plus community and homeless people. I say this all the time. It's LGBTQ plus now. Plus, because we might invent something new. We might invent some new kind of sexuality, and we want them to come join our little club because we want our club to grow as big as possible. I remember when it used to just be LGB. The LGB, that was easy. LGB, the LGB community. The LGB community in Chicago back in the 1990s used to put on the Gay Pride Parade. And we used to have a float in the Gay Pride Parade because we were very progressive. We were very like, it's cool. We don't care. So what, you're gay. It doesn't matter. But it was LGB. Then it became LGBT. They added trans, then Q, queer, which I don't know. Again, I'll say it again. I'm from the 80s. I thought it was all queer. I thought like if you were lesbian and gay, I thought that meant queer. All right. But apparently not. Apparently queer is its own thing too. Plus. So now it's LGBTQ plus. I don't know. What else is out there? There's nothing else out there. If there was something else out there, it would be included. They would have already added that letter to it. But I like how they just leave the plus, just on the off chance that some alien comes down and like says, hey, we've got this whole new way of doing it. Who wants in? Lee, 23, spoke to the New York Post in a jailhouse interview published on Sunday and claimed that he felt triggered by the comedian's jokes about the LGBTQ plus community and homeless people. I identify as bisexual. How convenient for you, Lee. I identify as bisexual, and I wanted him to know what he said was triggering. Oh, okay. Okay. So a comedian said something you disagreed with, and so you went up on stage and you tackled him. Okay. Okay. Are we supposed to be like, well, totally justifiable? Totally. If you feel triggered and hurt, get the fuck out of there. Leave. How about don't buy a ticket in the first place? How about just go, ha, do declare, and clutch your pearls and scamper your little ass out of the studio. You don't have a right to ruin the show for everybody else. You don't have a right to stop, you fascist, you freaky little fascist. That's what fascists do. They shut down speech that they don't agree with. I identify as bisexual, and I wanted him to know what he was saying was triggering, Lee said, who is currently in custody at the Twin Towers Correctional Facility in Los Angeles. I wanted him to know that next time he should consider first running his material by people it could affect. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you kidding me? You want comedians? All right, I just wrote this joke. Is this funny? Yeah, I don't know if it's funny. Let's get a whole bunch of people together and let's see if anybody has any problem with it. And then if somebody has a problem with it, we'll scrap it. There's always going to be somebody who has a problem with something. Don't go see Dave Chappelle. Don't go see him. Don't go see him. And you know what? If you're in the right, if you are righteous in this belief, then other people will agree with you and people will stop going to see Dave Chappelle. That's how it works. He's not in your front yard with a bullhorn going, listen to my jokes. He's not doing that. You went to see him. He has a right to have these opinions that you disagree with, and nobody gives a shit if you're triggered, you soft wuss. Lee claimed that he's been homeless and was in the process of trying to secure permanent housing when the incident at the comedy festival occurred. The altercation was captured on video, and Lee can be seen charging the comedian on stage. Lee admitted to carrying a retractable knife that was made to resemble a gun, but claims he didn't have it out when he went on stage, and he had no intention of using it on Chappelle. I'm also a single dad, and my son is 5. Oh, that kid's going to be messed up, Lee told the New York Post, adding that people who live without housing face a struggle. And I wanted Dave, don't wrap yourself in that. Don't wrap yourself in an issue that is very important, that needs to be taken very seriously. You are a crazy person who has fascist ideals and decided that it was incumbent upon you to shut someone up from saying something that you personally felt triggered by. That is how we're defining you right now, Isaiah Lee. Don't try and be like, oh, I'm homeless and this is, no, homeless problems are big and they're real. That's so sad. We're talking about driving up 35. Oh my God. See these people, they live under the viaducts. It's just so depressing. Ugh. Chappelle has faced a great deal of criticism. Yeah, we all know. Over the past year for jokes he made regarding the LGBTQ community, particularly the trans community. I love it. I love his stuff. I think his stuff is absolutely from the heart. I think it's a conversation starter. I don't think it's hurtful at all. But again, I also understand that I'm not in that community. But apparently, you take the things that he said. And I don't know how. I don't know why I would need to be in the community to go, oh, that's obviously offensive. It's not. I don't know. I think he's talking about it. I think that a lot of us have questions about it. I think that a lot of us can have questions about it without being judgy. I don't think he's judgy. I think he's a comedian. I think he was making jokes. Well, you can't make jokes about that. Don't tell anybody what they can and can't make jokes about, okay? You need to be focused on the people who aren't making jokes. You need to be focused on the people, I don't know, a dozen or so high-profile Texas politicians who aren't making jokes about this shit. Focus on that. Don't focus on Dave Chappelle. He's a comedian, for crying out loud. It's right there in the title, job title, comedian. Not politician, not legislator, not judge, comedian. Following his arrest, Lee was then accused of allegedly trying to stab his roommate last year. Oops. Yeah, you didn't offer that. We had to find that out. He didn't offer that in his interview and is now facing a charge of attempted murder for the incident. The victim allegedly identified Lee as his attacker after the footage from Chappelle's altercation went viral. All right, there you go. All right. So, folks, it's totally understandable why he did it. He did it because he wanted Dave to shut up. Okay. All right. There you go. See, in his crazy person mind, he thinks that's totally acceptable. I wanted him to shut up and he wouldn't shut up, so I went and I shut him up. It's not how this shit works, man. It's not how. There are a whole bunch of stand-up comedians who are out now. You don't see them because they don't get really high-profile stuff. But there are a bunch of stand-up comedians who play local comedy clubs and they don't have Netflix specials. And they do some really offensive stuff. Stuff that I don't like. Stuff that I don't want to hear. So I don't go see them. But I'm not saying that they shouldn't be able to do those things because, again, they're jokes. There are comedians that I used to enjoy who I don't anymore. Oh, man, there are some comedians from 20 years ago, 25 years ago, 30 years ago who shit just does not age well. It's like, oh boy, we were pieces of shit for laughing at that back then. I'm glad I've been enlightened in the years that have gone past because that's truly what aging is all about. It's about having new experiences and rethinking things you thought. If you still think the same way you thought 20 years ago, and I don't care if you're 60 going back to the way you thought at 40 or 40 going back to the way you thought at 20, you're doing it wrong. You are doing the whole evolution and life thing wrong because new information should have come across your desk on any number of topics over the past couple of decades, and you should have rethought the way you saw the world. That's just, I know I did. One of my favorite words on the planet used to be fag in the 80s. Everybody was a fag in the 80s. You fag, look at that fag. Had nothing to do with sexual orientation. It was a pejorative. And, there was even a time in my evolution on that particular word where I would say, but it doesn't matter because I'm not using it in a sexual way. If I saw my friend making out with his girlfriend, I'd go, look at that fag. That has nothing to do with homosexuality. And then a couple more years went by and I went, oh, but wait a second. I am using it as a pejorative. I am taking the word fag and applying it to a situation that I disapprove of. That's called the evolution of thought. That's just what happens as you get older. You know what else I did? Retard. Everybody was a retard. Everybody, oh, look at that retard. I hate that retard. I even remember having an argument about the word retard with somebody saying, no, retard. And then I used all of these like ridiculously phony semantical gymnastics to sort of justify, well, retard is a mechanical term. It means to slow up and reverse a process up. I remember like saying these kinds of things. And now, I got to a point a couple of years later where I was like, oh, wait, it's just mean. It's just like if I say that and there's a chance that somebody out there, maybe they have a kid who's got some troubles. Maybe they got this. Maybe it's just not cool to say that. That's a possibility. I should be able to say it, but maybe it's not cool to say it. Maybe I shouldn't. I can. No one can tell me I can't, but maybe I shouldn't. See, that's an evolution of thought. So I've come around on a whole bunch of things. I can tell you, even the trans thing is something that I have completely evolved on, just say within the last 10 years. I used to think it was hysterical. I used to think that the whole idea of, wait a second, that's a guy in a dress. Like I used to think that was hysterical. And then, you evolve a little bit and you start to think, well, you know what? There are a lot of people facing a lot of things that I just can't understand. And I can't understand them because I don't face them. So maybe I should try and have a little more compassion for folks who are going through shit that I just don't understand. And instead of being, just go, I don't know. God love them. They're all human beings. Human beings deserve If you are a human being, you deserve the respect from other human beings as long as you're not doing shit that, as long as you're not molesting kids or hurting people or if you're just a normal person, if you're just a normal dude who wants to wear a dress, who am I? I don't know, right? That's how life is. You gotta just keep evolving. Don't be. That's the sign of being old. The sign of being old is when you go, but that's not what I thought 30 years ago. It's all right. It's all right. It's fine to admit that maybe you were wrong 30 years ago. And then maybe you have a different perspective because the world has changed. Maybe the world's perspective has changed. And a lot of that is pushed by younger generations who have completely different life experiences than we did. I've said it a couple of times. I say it all the time. I want a t-shirt that says it. I come from the 80s. My entire generation, Gen X, Gen X, you people don't care. You people just sit on the sidelines. You people are like, what's it all about? Who cares? Yeah, that's because our entire formative existence was the day after era, right? When I was growing up, everybody that I grew up with, we totally understood that the Soviets could launch those bombs and we could all be dead tomorrow. So really, what is the point? That infected our entire way of seeing the world. Now, the next generation that came up behind us, they grew up post-Cold War. They grew up in a completely different era. They have a different view on the world. They want to make things better. And we didn't want to make things better. We were like, we just want to survive. We just want to live one more day. And that's where the apathy of my generation comes from. And if I don't recognize now as a person from that generation in my 50s, that the other generations that came up behind me have a different view of the world, then I'm old. That's how you get old. You get old when you refuse to recognize that other people have different ways of looking at things. And you should probably give them the respect of going, I'm going to try and look at it from your point of view. Because ultimately, they didn't fall from the sky. We weren't all vaporized in the blink of an eye. That never happened. We made it through. All right, Mike Tyson is trending. Why is Mike Tyson trending? Mike Tyson is trending because, remember, he had that altercation with the passenger, the idiot passenger. He went on his podcast, which is I don't know what it's called. Mike Tyson is high. I don't know what it's called. Hot Boxing. That's what it's called. Hot Boxing with Mike Tyson podcast. He talked about it. When asked what all started that, Mike Tyson said, he was effing with me, man. Tyson said before sharing that he had taken pictures with the passenger prior to the incident. So they're on the plane and the dude's like, Mike Tyson, I want to take pictures. And he's like, okay, so let's take some pictures here. Let's do some pictures. All right. There you go. All right, there you go. You got your pictures. All right, sit down over there. All right. Nice to talk to you. Just leave me alone now. I'm Mike Tyson. I'm like a caged tiger just walking around. Remember, Mike Tyson is just like a tiger that we allow in public. We allow. There was a time when Mike Tyson was a tiger and he acted like a tiger. He's still a tiger, but he seems to be heavily medicated. It's like when a rich person, like a sultan in the Middle East, brings out like a super drugged up lion to his kid's 10th birthday party and all the kids pet the lion. That's what Mike Tyson is now. Mike Tyson is just some tiger that we allow on commercial airline jets. We allow him out at comedy clubs because he's super doped up and he's like totally, but you can't, don't F with that tiger. Even no matter how drugged up that tiger is, you start yanking on its hair, you start poking it in the eye. That tiger for a split second is going to turn back into a tiger. And that's what happened with Mike Tyson. He was like, dude, just come on, stop. Just leave me alone. I want to sit here. I want to just, I want to do my thing. I'm just trying to get back to Las Vegas. And the guy's like, it's Mike Tyson being a dick. Screw you, Mike Tyson. And he threw the water at him, and Mike Tyson went, and just started pounding on the guy. Tyson says, I shouldn't even be taking public planes. Tyson further explained, my wife gets mad when I take public planes, but what am I going to do? What am I going to do on an FM private plane with my friends? Well, I don't know, Mike. The retired boxer also shared that he feels triggered by situations like the one that transpired on the flight. Yeah, he's Mike Tyson. He's the tiger at the kid's 10-year-old birthday party. He's drugged up. There's an understanding that he has now for the last 10 years or so, Tyson has been good in public. He's been downright sweet. He's been charming. He's fun. It's like, oh, look, Mike Tyson's here. He could totally kick our ass if he wanted to, but he doesn't want to, thankfully, because he's on all kinds of drugs. So there you go. So the guy was being a dick. We all knew the guy was being a dick. What else do we have here? We had a couple things. I jumped over a whole bunch of things. I was running out of time, and I got stuff to do today, even though this is my high point of the day. I love this. Don't forget tonight, Kelly Moore Mondays. Kelly will be joining us on Pillow Talk. That's at 9 p.m. tonight, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. Pugs and Parker proudly present Pillow Talk on the Radio Misfits podcast platform. Kelly Moore Monday, my former radio partner, will hang out with us tonight. We'll get into a whole bunch of stuff. Robert Quinn is trending. Robert Quinn is trending with the Dallas Cowboys because there is talk that the Dallas Cowboys may make a move for Robert Quinn. Robert Quinn played 1 year with the Cowboys 3 years ago now. And then as a free agent, he was signed by my Chicago Bears, and he kicked ass. We couldn't beat him. He set the Chicago Bears, my team, a team known for defense. He set the single season sack record for sacks in a season. The Chicago Bear record for sacks in a season last year with 18.5. Robert Quinn is a monster. And, well, yeah, but he had Khalil Mack on the other side. No, he didn't. Khalil Mack played in 5 games last year. Robert Quinn did it all by himself. Robert Quinn is a badass man. I think he had 12. I think I read. It was when the last time he was with the Cowboys, he had 12. And then we got him in free agency, and he only played half a year because he got injured. But then last year he played the whole year. He had 18.5 sacks. He set the Chicago Bears record for sacks, which is crazy because the 85 Bears had like Richard Dent for one, Hall of Famer. But again, the 85 Bears, they had like 5 guys who got like 10 sacks, whereas last year the Bears only had Robert Quinn. So, okay, Cowboys, you want Quinn back? I think you could use him. I think you could absolutely use him. He's coming off of he's coming off more sacks than he's ever had in a single season, 18.5. He's 32 years old. Give us, because we are in full rebuild mode. Give us for Robert Quinn, give us a 2 and a 4. There you go. Give us a 2 and a 4. That's what I want. Oh, that's too much? All right, fuck you. Fine, we'll keep him. We don't care. We got him for another couple of years. Whatever. He can teach our guys. Do you want him or not? I want a 2 and a 4. I want a 2 and a 4. All right, how about just a 2? All right, how about a 3, a 4, and a 5? They will give us a 3. No, I want a 2. I want a 2 because we don't really need to get rid of them, But how desperate are the Cowboys to add another 18.5 sacks to the edge on your defense? You want to add that? Oh, he's too old. I don't care. I don't give a shit. He's coming off an 18.5 sack season. Give me a number 2 for him. Give me a number 2 or go pedal to. Hey, you know what? I bet the Eagles might be interested. And since you're wasting our time right now, we'll give him to the Eagles for an even better deal. 2 and a 4. 2 and a 4 for Robert Quinn. There you go. All right. Ross says, I totally recognize the new way young people think now, but they're stupid. Yeah. Al Gamboa says, I was born in the 60s. Yeah, you were born in the 60s, but you don't come from well, actually, I don't know. No. Okay, so let's say if you were born in 1961, let's say you were born in 1960. If you were born in 1960, then you would say you come from the 70s. You'd say you come from the 60s. 0 to 10, you have no thoughts that are your own. Those are stupid. You're just a dumb kid. You come from the era where you were between 12 and 18. Wherever you were, whatever decade you were between the ages of 12 and 18, that's where you come from. Because that's when you really start to kind of become a human being. Me, I come from the 80s. I was born in 1969, but I come from the 80s. What else do we have? Adam, did I trigger you? I swear to God, he doesn't like that I said fag or retard. Is that it? You don't have to keep saying it. Words. Stop it, you softy, you big soft bitch. Rob Bar, I guess he's talking about the Dave Chappelle attacker. How did he get in if he has no money for housing? Yeah, I don't know, Rob. That's interesting because he also had a backpack. Who can bring a backpack into a concert? Who's he must have snuck in, right? He must have been completely whatever the deal is. I don't know. All right, guys, that's it. We're done. We are done for the day. Look, is it 2:00? It's 2:05. All right, so I went a couple of minutes late. I got stuff to do, and I'm hot. Boy, oh boy. I'm gonna go watch. I've got to. Okay, so one, I got to do like a major construction project around here, and by major for me, that means I got to screw into this table. I got to try and fix this table. I got to do that, and then I got to go. What else do I got to do? That's really it. It just feels like I've got a project that I got to do. So in my mind, I'm like, oh, I got a lot I got to do. Even though it's just one project. And the reason that the project is daunting to me, because I need a tool that I don't think... Adam, I also did a whole soliloquy about how shut the fuck up about telling people what they can or can't say. I said I choose not to use those words. I should never be told that I can't use those words, which is what you love to do. You love to tell people you are a fascist. Adam Reyna is like the biggest fascist of all of the people in the chat room here. It is your way, and you are going to tell people. If I want to say fag, I should be able to say it. If I want to say retard, I should be able to see it. Contextually, what I was saying is that I've evolved from a place in the 1980s and 90s where those were more common to understand that, yeah, I shouldn't want to say them. So I don't want to say them. I don't wish to use those terms anymore because I now understand something that I didn't understand then, which is that words have meaning and they hurt people. And I have no interest in hurting people. But you don't say them. You seem to be... It's like the entire rant went completely over your head. Completely. You just... God. I never said you can't. I'm saying it shows your true self. Oh, my true self. See, that's the other thing. There's the fascist. That's what he does. He has now identified me as one of them. That's God. Adam Reyna is one of the most, and historically, one of the most closed-minded people I have ever come across. And what's really crazy about it is that he thinks he's open-minded. He thinks that he's not. It's his way or the highway. He's also kind of a bigot. He's also like one of the most ardent bigots I have ever known. And I have known some bigots. It is... We don't need to go into it. But you wish to use them. Why do I let him do this to me? Why do I let... Fascist Adam Reyna, the energy vampire. His way or the highway. Anybody that is... No, I'm not even going to say it. I'm not going to say that because that's... I don't want to go there in this because he's my guy. Closed-minded have the most open mouths. Well, that's not true. Well, maybe that is true. But Adam is one of those interesting, super closed-minded, bigoted people who are so of the belief that they're righteous. And I don't know if it's some attempt at moral superiority, but they think that they're indemnified from any kind of criticism because they believe that they're... I don't want to go into it. I'm just saying, I know I'm open-minded and I'm not a bigot. I'm just too open-minded for you to get. Yeah, that's it. Adam, you hate white people. You hate white people. There is never a thing that a white man does that you do not convict at the very first moment. But you're not a bigot. Not a bigot. Not a bigot. Just all white people are evil, and but not a bigot. Notice I didn't say racist, because I do believe that racist is a whole different category. Racist comes from a position of authority, whereas a bigot is just somebody who doesn't like people for just being a certain way. Adam, I don't think you like white people. I think you tolerate some, but I think if you have an opportunity to convict a white person of something, let's get back into this. No, don't. We don't have to have this. I hate them so much I married them. Right, because racists never married black women, because there aren't a bunch of racist white Texans married to Mexican women. Oh, sure. Oh, that's rich. I will pull examples. I will begin now. You know what? No, not even anything from the past. Just moving forward. I will make notes of all of the bigoted things, the bigoted observations that you have towards specifically white people, specifically white men. You're pretty bigoted, man. You're pretty close-minded. No white man is ever innocent until proven guilty with Adam. Nope. Always guilty. Yeah, you're being silly. He's being silly. He knows I'm right, and so now he's making like really ridiculous. And Elton John was married, because people never do things that. All right, that's it. We'll be back tonight. I don't know. I think I may have. I don't know. Could this be the thing about Adam and I is that we typically don't let these things affect us, but I went a little hard on him today because I do think he's kind of a bigot. Doesn't change my overall opinion of him, but don't take it personal. You know how it is. You get past it. But I do think you're a bigot. All right, bye everybody.
Tomorrow is another day, the best is yet to come. I have found a different way, so baffling to some. I can smile a little now, things are going good. I always had to be